Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So as promised on Instagram, me and Holly, this is Holly by the way.
Hi everyone.
I will tag her Instagram and her YouTube channel in the description box below, and I'll tag her Instagram on the screen. But we are doing a motherhood Q&A, so we asked loads of you on Instagram to ask us some questions, and we are just going to answer them as honestly as possible. Whilst also eating a McDonald's. So we do have a baby in the back.
Little Indy.
And she's awake, so she might end up sat on one of our knees, I don't really know. I'm hoping that I can get my food eaten before she decides to do that. But yeah, luckily we've only got one baby too.
My baby is very...
I can too today.
Yeah. She's with her dad today because she's very unsettled, and I just know for a fact we would never have got this done if she was here.
Yeah, I'm hoping Indy lets us eat, and then if she has to join in the video, just join in the video. So I've got a McCrispy.
I've got some chicken selects. I do normally get a McCrispy, but I think I've had about 10 in the last month. I thought I'd go for something different.
I actually haven't had a McDonald's for ages. Oh no, I have. I had one last week, didn't I?
I'm literally like...
But I just had chicken strips, that's all I had.
Yeah. I think it's one of them, like, if you're stuck what to do when you've just got your baby and you go for a drive, might even Starbucks or McDonald's.
Yeah. Right. I'll answer, well, I'll ask some of mine and then Holly can ask some of hers. So, obviously we'll both answer them. The first question is, do you ever wish you could have your pre-kid life back for a week? And my answer is yes.
Absolutely.
Like,
actually, wow.
If someone said to me once a year that you could have your pre-kid life back for a week once a year, that would be amazing.
I think as well, like, you take it for granted before you have kids. Like, it is exciting, the thought of having kids when you don't, but then when you do, you're like, yeah, you're just like,
why was I so excited?
Yeah. Or actually, can I just go back? So now whenever anyone gets pregnant for the first time, or they're thinking about it, I'm just like, it's not a bad thing, but just enjoy your freedom before, because it's a whole different ball game, isn't it?
Yeah, and you like, that's what it is, freedom. Like, even if you go away without your kids, you're constantly thinking about your kids, or you're worried about them, so you never actually fully enjoy yourself like you did before, because you're just thinking, oh, I hope my kids are all right because I'm not there.
Yeah, it's so true. You get that little bit of guilt, don't you? Like, I can get like quite anxious before like a night out or going away without them, whereas before I wouldn't have a care in the world, whereas now I'm like, oh, and it makes me a bit like, but yeah, it would be good to go back for like
just even like being at home, not having to do a bath and bed routine, making your tea, getting up, making your breakfast without any kids in the house for like a full week. I feel like it would recharge every single mother and dad and father on the entire planet. Honestly,
it would. Imagine just getting up in the morning leisurely and not even thinking about anyone else.
Obviously it's never going to happen because it doesn't exist.
Literally.
But yeah, the answer from us both is yes. Second question, I mean, some of our questions might be the same. We've actually not compared each other's questions. I've just screenshotted some questions and then circled them. So the next one is it harder going from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2? I'm due my second this summer and I'm scared. It's definitely harder going from 1 to 2.
100%.
Like, I didn't find 0 to 1 that difficult at all, to be honest. I feel like Casper just slotted into my life very easily. I feel like I found motherhood very easy. It was when Casper turned like 15 months I was like, holy shit, I'm actually a mum, because he became quite difficult. But I found the first 12 sort of months as a mum very, very easy. And to be honest, I don't feel like my life changed that much, really.
No.
It was lockdown as well, but I just feel like it's all I ever wanted, and it just was quite easy. But I personally find babies quite easy and toddlers quite difficult. So then when obviously you come to having your second, your third, your fourth, you've got toddlers to look after and then a new child. So yeah, it's definitely harder. You have to, I mean, a lot of people feel guilt for, like, I know a lot of people feel mum guilt, but I actually don't really get mum guilt.
No.
Like, I don't ever feel guilty on Indy if I'm attending to Casper. I don't know why, but I think if I let myself, then I would, but I just try not to let myself. I try not to think about it, and I just think when Casper's at nursery, she gets my time.
Got to think about it as well, like, the first child had all our attention, just us, for like that first year and a half or so, and the second doesn't get that. So yeah, like now with my two, they're at nursery and school, so I get a bit of time with Emmy, but before you know it, they're back again. And I mean, they're your kids, aren't they? So mum guilt for one or the other. I do understand why people do, because you just think, well, I don't get as much time with them, but they've had that time before anyway. But yeah, I definitely think 1 to 2 is harder. Like 0 to 1, like you said, they just slot in. And also it's exciting because it's like a life-changing thing. Like, you've not had kids before. Yeah. It's exciting.
And
it's
as bad as it sounds, like, you don't know what to expect.
No, you don't.
You just think everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows.
Perfect, yeah.
So then when you get pregnant again, you're thinking, holy shit, I know what's coming. But I don't know, not that it's a bad thing, but it is obviously hard. So your first pregnancy is just so magical, because you just think that you're just going to have this amazing baby and your whole life's going to be perfect forever. And they don't stay babies.
No. And they don't stay perfect forever.
No. Do you think 1 to 2 is harder, or 2 to 3?
At first in my mind I was thinking 2 to 3 would be easier, because I've already got 2 and it's manic and crazy and wow. But I think because Emmy's such an unsettled baby, going from 2 to 3 has been like harder than I ever imagined, because she's very unsettled. She doesn't just chill, so trying to see to them too and then her at the same time, and not being able to get anything done. Like, you know me, if like my house is a mess, I am just very stressed.
I've never seen Holly's house a mess, by the way.
So when it just gets to a point where it's a mess and she's screaming, and I know mess isn't everything, like everyone says, you know, it's gonna be, and I do like understand that, and I do, you know, just let it be. But yeah, I'd say at this moment in time, that 2 to 3 is very, very hard.
Yeah, because everyone says your third or your fourth or your fifth just slots in, but I can't imagine that. Like, I feel like if I had a third in the next 2 years, I would literally be tearing my hair out.
I think like when you've got 2, you've got 1 each, haven't you?
Yeah.
Obviously that's if you've got, like, if you're still with your partner, you just take 1 each and that's that. But the third, it's like, wow.
Yeah, you basically need 6 pairs of hands and you've only got 4 pairs. And then when you're on your own, you need 6 pairs of hands and you've only got 2 pairs.
Yeah, exactly. When I'm on my own, it's really hard.
And the washing, oh my god, my washing's horrendous. So I can't even imagine having 3 or more kids. Yeah. Honestly, I really can't.
All that I'd just say that is, if you are thinking about having a second or a third, just time it well with your childcare. Yeah. Because once they get to obviously 3 years old, they get 33 hours, because obviously childcare is expensive, isn't it? So if you can wait until they're nearly turning 3, and then you get that time back just with the baby, and it's not too much, so you get a bit of a breather. Yeah,
like Casper has 2 or 3 days of childcare a week, and it is a lifesaver for me. If you didn't have that, I would be in a lot worse state than what I am.
Yeah.
But I know not everyone can have that, so it's not scary going from 1 to 2. It's not like,
no,
because you already know what you're doing anyway, and you already look after your child, so you just got a new child to look after. But you already know how to look after children, so it's not like extremely difficult, but it is harder from going to 0 to 1. The first few weeks are fine because all they do is sleep.
Yeah, the newborn stage is easy, innit?
Third question, best and worst part of motherhood. Best part of motherhood is
let me think about that. No, I'm kidding.
Well, just the fact that they're your children, like,
you've got mini yous.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting unhappy, darling. Yeah, so the best part of motherhood, I think, is that, just the fact that they're your children and you created them, and they start to have little personalities and you watch them grow every day.
Yeah.
Even though some days can be really hard. And the worst part for me, I think, is not having your independence again. Like, not independence, but
Yeah.
if you just want to go to the shop and the kids are in bed, you can't.
You can't just nick to a shop.
Just want to go to the gym and your kids are in bed, you can't. Like, I used to love getting up early and going to the gym on a morning, but I can't do that now. So it's just stuff like that I would say is the hardest part for me personally.
I would say the best part is the same.
Oh,
The best part is the same. So it's like, obviously you've created little humans, they've come from you, they're a part of you. Just all the things that you can do with them, like family days out and things like that, holidays, just makes it a bit more exciting. And especially Christmas, actually, like when it comes to Christmas time, you literally enjoy Christmas all over again, don't you? Because when you're an adult, let's face it, it's not really that exciting. I'd say the worst part is probably, yeah, I think it's just more like the fact of what you said, like you can't just nip out if you need to. Everything you arrange has to be around them, which of course it does for your children, but whenever I like book my hair in or my nails, I'm like, do I have the kids? Do I have this?
Yeah, you can't be selfish as selfish as what you used to be.
No. And like holidays, of course, like if you go abroad, they're more expensive because they're in the summer holidays when your kids go to school eventually. But I wouldn't say there was a worst part. It's probably a bit of a brutal.
Yeah, that is a bit of a brutal.
But yeah, probably like sort of the disadvantages, I guess.
Yeah, that's a better term.
But the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say. Right, I thought I'd answer this one because I don't know, it's an honest motherhood Q&A. How do you find time to be intimate with having children? So, I just think you have to just really make the effort. You have to really think about it. Like, it's not just gonna, well, obviously it does come naturally, but you have to really just think, even if you're tired, you have to just think, do you know what? If we don't do this soon, it's never going to happen again. Like, you just have to, like, personally, we will do it with Indy in the bedroom because there's not really much other option.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise you're waiting 6 months, aren't you?
Yeah.
And that's just ridiculous because there isn't a time when the baby's not in your room.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's sofas and stuff like that, but
We should get out of bed and go downstairs instead.
I just think you just have to make the effort to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to just both know that it's going to be a longer period of time between doing things.
Yeah, because you do
before.
feel that, like, guilt, don't you? And worry that they think, God, does she not want to anymore? Now, I do have to say to Jamie sometimes, like, I don't want you to think that I don't want to do it. It's literally just because I'm tired or I'm just not feeling it, or it's been a long day, or, and I know, like, they are typical excuses, like what people would say, but it's true. Like, I cannot sit here and say I'm not attracted to him anymore because I 100% am.
Yeah, I think you have to reassure them, to be honest.
Yeah, you do.
Like, sometimes I do just say, I'd have sex tonight, but I'm knackered. Maybe tomorrow. And just,
but
like,
you just feel better telling them, don't you?
Yeah.
Than ignoring it.
and I think if you plant seeds in your own head, like, let's say the weekend's coming up, right, it's Friday night tomorrow, I'm either lying on Saturday, let's do it tomorrow. Like, in your own head, if you've told yourself you're going to do it,
Yeah.
I feel like you're more likely to actually go ahead with what you've told yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, not like it's a chore or anything, but you know, when you're a mum of 2 or 3, or even 1, if you're a mum of 1 and you're watching this, then it is a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you get to bed, you're literally just like, ah. So me personally, we might as well just go into it. I prefer doing it on a morning sometimes.
Well,
if we wake up
used
before.
to, but we have very early risers in our
Yeah,
house.
you do.
So there's absolutely no chance of that anymore.
Whereas we can get away with it sometimes, but my, like, sex drive and energy is mostly on a morning, because then I just know that,
Yeah.
you know, I'm refreshed for the day and whatever, can have a shower
And by
and
the
get
way,
up.
if you're a breastfeeding mum, you should know that your libido is massively affected by breastfeeding.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because when I had Casper, I don't think we did it for nearly 20 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And because one, I just didn't feel like I wanted to, and secondly I tried and it did hurt, so we waited a bit longer. But with Indy it was literally like 5 weeks, and I didn't really breastfeed Indy for very long, and I was still breastfeeding by 5 weeks, but I was mainly given a formula. And then I thought it does actually make sense, because when I had Casper I just didn't want it. So if you're watching this and you're a breastfeeding mum and you think, oh my god, as if you're having sex like, and you've just had babies, then that is probably why, because your sex drive will have been affected by breast milk.
It's crazy that, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
funny what like anything can do.
It's all to do with hormones, isn't it, really?
Well, yeah, like when you're pregnant as well, like you can go off it.
Next question is hardest thing the few days after birth. So hardest thing the first few days after birth. It's hard to say really, because everyone has a different experience.
I was going to say, me personally, I've only had vaginal births. I've never had to have a section or anything, and I know that recovery can be really hard. So
Ooh.
I wouldn't say that after birth I've ever felt restricted or in pain of any type. But then, like you say, like people have stitches.
Whereas I've had 2 bad births. So I've had a C-section and I've had an episiotomy, which is where they cut you with massive, huge scissors. And the recovery for that was initially worse than a C-section. I was in so much pain, I couldn't even sit down. So I just think it's to be prepared for that. Like, be prepared for, you might have to literally spend a week in the house without moving. Because I honestly, if I left the house, I couldn't even sit in the car. I literally had to sit on like the side of my leg, because I actually just couldn't sit on my bum.
Yeah.
And like going anywhere in public, like I remember going to the hospital for my first like health visit and midwife appointment when Indy was like 3 days old. And Josh was like, oh, do you want to sit there? And I was thinking, I can't sit down, hun. Like, no. Like, I'm in so much pain. If I sit there, everyone will just be like, what is she doing? But I've personally never had baby blues. I've never cried after having a baby.
I did after my first, but second and third I didn't.
Yeah. I've never had that sort of like really emotional takeover. I don't know. I've just been, to be honest, I always think I feel quite numb after having a child. I feel numb for about 3 weeks. Like, I think I do get that, you do get that newborn bubble, but I also do feel quite numb. Like, I don't really have any feelings.
Yeah,
like,
it's
it's
just
hard
like,
to explain. I just feel...
You're just going day to day without thinking, really.
Yeah. Right, I'll do 2 more and then Holly can answer hers, because if not, I feel like we're going to be here all day. Right, that one's technically been covered. How were your labours? Holly's had really good labours. I've had pretty hard ones, but I wouldn't obviously change it for the world. Did you both breastfeed? If so, how did you find it? If not, how come? So I breastfed Casper for nearly 9 months. I combi fed from about 16 weeks, but only actually because he was such a sicky child. Like, he was honestly sick like 100 times a day, that I started using formula just so I could add a thickener to it. And if I did like that twice a day, it would reduce his sickness like 30 times a day, which was a massive help for me in my washing pile. So that is literally the only reason why I started combi feeding him. And then Indy, I tried breastfeeding her, but she was absolutely not interested whatsoever. She'd just fall asleep on the boob, she wouldn't latch. It was painful as hell, wasn't it? Like, I literally was texting you lot every day like, my nipple is actually going to fall off. She'd only attached to one boob, and I just kept trying and trying, and then just thought, you know what, I've literally tried for 4 weeks. I mean, they did try and get me to like a breastfeeding clinic, but they wanted me to go like 45 minutes away from home. I was like, she's literally my second baby, I don't have all this time. And I just thought, you know what, I just can't be arsed, I'm just going to formula feed. So yeah, Indy is a formula fed baby and she is thriving.
Yeah, she
to be honest,
is.
She's one of the happiest babies in the world.
Yeah, with Spencer, my first, I was planning on breastfeeding, trying it, giving it a whirl, but I never, like, my boobs never got milking all the way through my pregnancy. And then as soon as I had Spencer, I tried to breastfeed, and the midwife was literally there for like hours trying to get something out of my boobs and it just wasn't happening. It was painful, it was uncomfortable. So as soon as I left the hospital, on the way home we stopped at a shop and got formula, and he was on Cow and Gate and was fine, albeit I took formula straight to the hospital. He was on Cow and Gate and he was fine. And Emmy, of course, I was planning on formula feeding as well, and I did start Emmy on Cow and Gate, but she's just been, I don't really know what's been wrong with her. She's definitely a colicky baby. She's suffered a lot with like her wind and stuff like that. So at one point I changed her formula to Kender Milk, because obviously my friends use it and loads of people recommended it, and she has been a lot better on it. But yeah, I wouldn't say that they've missed out or lost out on anything from formula feeding. I actually get a lot of DMs on Instagram of people worried to formula feed and being judged for it,
like,
and it's just
people
awful.
say like, how do you feel guilty for formula feeding? And I just think no, but I do feel that judgmental. Like when I was feeding Indy as like a newborn in public with a bottle of formula, I did feel really judged. And I know people say that they feel scared to breastfeed in public, but I was actually scared to formula feed in public. I felt like people would be looking at me like as if that lady is feeding a formula, like look how small she is, why is she not giving her breast milk? But it, like, Holly obviously isn't that bothered about trying breast milk, which is fine. And I personally would have liked to breastfeed Indy, but she just wouldn't do it, and I can't feel bad for that.
No.
There's nothing wrong with formula feeding. There's nothing wrong with breastfeeding. It's literally just food. And to be honest, they say that breastfeeding is better for their immune system. I know plenty of breastfed babies that were breastfed for longer than Casper, and they are ill all the time.
Oh yeah, it's so true. So, I don't have poorly kids.
No.
Rarely.
Casper is not a poorly child at all, and he was, I mean, I say I breastfed till 9 months. I literally breastfed him like once a day, and from like 7 to 9 months he literally just used to have a morning feed or the odd night feed. So he was mainly formula fed from about 4 or 5 months, and he is never ill, whereas I know some babies that were breastfed for 20 months, 2 years, and they're ill all the time.
Yeah.
So I personally don't think it does anything for the baby's immune system. I just think it's free. And it's more convenient. It's definitely more convenient because you don't have bottles to be prepping, and like we are always texting each other out. We're like, do you know where there's any Kender Milk in
because there's no bloody Kender Milk anywhere. Like the fear and the anxiety when you're running out, you're like, oh my god.
When you're breastfeeding, you don't have to worry about that. Like I've come out today knowing I'm probably going to be out for an hour and a half, but I've still put a bottle in the bag just in case, even though she had one just before I left.
Yeah.
Because I just think you never know when she's going to want a bottle. No. Whereas when you breastfeed, you don't have to worry about that.
But yeah, just don't worry, don't feel judged, don't feel like if you, you know, because I do hear a lot of the time that the partners are quite adamant for their partner to breastfeed, and I think fair enough, they have their own opinions, but it's your body at the end of the day, and you're the one that's pregnant, you're the one having the baby, and whatever you want to do it.
Yeah, don't let anyone tell you whether it's your mother, your
in-laws, you know what in-laws are like.
God, yeah, in-laws, partners. Like Josh said to me, if you want a formula feeder, then formula feeder. Like I'm not going to tell you, like everyone says breast is best, but I'm not going to sit and tell you this. So if you want to get her on the formula, then just do it. And to be honest, now I actually do feel like, even though breast milk is obviously more convenient, I do think formula feeding is also more convenient when you've got other children, because you're not, oh bless you, because you're not constantly sat on the boob.
Exactly, and like they're more demanding, aren't they, when you're breastfed? Like
Indy has 5 or 6 bottles across 24 hours, whereas breastfed babies can be fed up to 15 times a day. And so just think, when you've got other children, that's quite a long time to be sat feeding. Yeah. Whereas I know that when she's had a bottle, she will pretty much go 3 hours, which gives me more time to be doing stuff with Casper, or be doing stuff at home, as bad as that sounds, like catching up with washing and tidying. Yeah. Stuff I can't do when the tornado toddlers are at home. Yeah. Right, I'll do one last question and then I'll let Holly answer. I feel like this is going to be a long video, but
yeah, probably.
Oh well.
Covering everything at least.
How to deal with toddler tantrums. I thought I'd answer this one because we have very strong-willed toddlers.
Wow. Yeah.
my son is 18 months and I'm struggling already. So I will say that I struggled with Casper from about 15 months. Like, I do remember him being a lot earlier than my friends' kids who are like weeks apart. Like, I just remember getting so all the time I just remember taking my friends saying, oh my god, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing my head in. Like, I can't actually believe he's like this already. He's not even 2 yet. And then unfortunately 2's just got worse, and then 2.5, which was only a month ago, absolutely hit its peak for us, and I don't think it could actually get any worse, but fingers crossed the last week he has been a lot better. But it's hard because you do lose your rag, don't you?
Yeah.
Even though you don't want to.
Yeah,
it's just
normal.
an automatic reaction.
Of course you're going to.
And I follow all these gentle parenting groups, I follow all these gentle parenting Instagram pages just to try and give me tips, but then sometimes they make me feel guilty for shouting. But if I shout at Casper quite badly, I do try to always apologise and say sorry for shouting. And then I just find that following Instagram pages do help. So I follow one called Big Little Feelings, and they share absolutely loads on toddlers' feelings. I also follow one, I'll tag them on the screen, called Healthiest Baby. She's the same, she tags loads on like toddlers' feelings, how to deal with toddler tantrums, how to word things correctly. And it doesn't mean that you always do it, because sometimes it just completely goes out the window and you just at the end of your absolute tether. But I do think trying to stay patient, having your own coping mechanism. So like last week, he was absolutely just awful, and I actually went outside and locked myself out of the house and took 5 minutes to myself of deep breathing. I could hear him in the house. I knew that he was all right. You know, there was nothing that he could have hurt himself on, but it really helped me to reset, and I went back in just a different person and handled it again.
Yeah, it does.
So it's like trying to find your way of calming yourself
Dealing with
down.
it. Everyone's different. Everyone's got, you know, different buttons that can just make you explode. But I just make sure that if one of them, Spencer has grown out of him now, he's nearly 5, but he was really, really bad at around Casper's age, and it lasted about a year, and it was non-stop, and it was horrendous. Thinking about it now, I don't know why I had another child at the time, because I'm like, what was I thinking? Albie has been an angel up until about 4 months ago, and now the terrible 3s have hit him. But he's a defo 3-nager now. But I think a lot of it he sees from Spencer with the sort of attitude and back chat. But what I find will help in the moment sometimes, rather than me shouting, which I do shout, don't get me wrong, a lot, I do shout. But if I just sit calmly and just say, look, it's okay to feel angry, it's okay to be upset.
Yeah, like recognise their feelings.
Like, mummy's upset, can you not see I'm upset? What you did really upset me. And just talk about the situation, ask them why they're feeling that kind of way in that situation. Especially with Spencer now, like, he doesn't really tantrum, but with him being nearly 5, if I just ask him, he actually calms down. Yeah, with Spencer, because he's nearly 5 now, like if I say to him, look, what's the matter? Like, why are you crying? What is it that's making you angry? I think that helps him to reflect, and he'll think, actually, why am I crying over a spoon? Do you know what I mean? Like, something so minor, and it helps them to think about the situation as well.
Yeah, like now Casper's getting older, and his speech is getting a lot better.
Yeah.
I do ask him, are you feeling angry, are you feeling sad, are you feeling upset? And like even now sometimes he'll say to me, I'm not gonna cry, mummy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's really nice, Casper. I'm glad you're not gonna cry, but it's okay to cry. Like, so it's just recognising their feelings really. And I always think a hug solves everything. Sometimes they might not want to give you one, but I always try and offer a hug. Like, do you want to give mummy a cuddle? Do you want to give mummy a hug? And usually 9 times out of 10 he eventually will give me one. Sometimes he will just be like, no.
I think taking 5 does help though, like you said, like just shutting the door, even if they're screaming on the other side, just give yourself that time.
Some people like scream into a pillow, don't they?
Yeah.
Some people
I scream at my partner when he comes in.
But actually take myself out of the actual house the other day and going out into the fresh air. I took Indy with me, obviously I didn't leave her in the house. It actually just really helped me
it does.
to just reset myself and like be like, right, like, you can stay calm, this is okay, like, it's just your child, like, you are stronger than them, you are, like, I'm not going to let him beat me down.
Forever. And we're using reward charts at the minute, aren't we?
Yeah. So that, like, I spoke to my son's nursery and they massively helped. And they said reward charts for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So, I don't really like the one eating all the tea, because I don't ever want to feel my child, like, forced to eat the tea.
Yeah, because you don't know if they actually are hungry, do you?
Yeah, so like, I'd never want him to feel like he has to eat all his tea, but getting out of the bath when I ask, because that's one of our issues, he will not get out of the bath. Getting changed when we ask. Like, just recognising good behaviour, really.
Yeah. Whatever you find challenging with your children, use that on a reward chart.
Yeah, like brushing the teeth.
Yeah.
If they've brushed the teeth nicely without having a meltdown or screaming at you, or they've taken the pyjamas off, they've got dressed.
Yeah.
They've let you change the nappy. I mean, sometimes, like, one for us is Casper sleeping in his bed all night, because he doesn't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
But the last 2 nights he has, so he's had a sticker for that. Like, this morning he already had 2 stickers because he slept in his bed all night. That was 1 sticker, and he got dressed for nursery when I asked him to.
Yeah.
So that was 2 stickers.
And doesn't it make you feel good as well? Like, when I put them stickers on with them, it's such a nice feeling, because
like,
you're like, wow, they've actually done it.
They've actually done what I've asked.
It's nice to praise them rather than be bloody shouting at them. Because
and they say that you don't have to do sticker charts forever.
No.
Because once they get into that habit of doing that good behaviour,
they know they'll get rewards.
Yeah, they know they'll get rewards.
Yeah.
And then, like nursery said, you know, if you find yourself 6 to 8 weeks time, it's sort of coming back again, then just get the sticker chart back out, and eventually they said it will stick. And they know that if they've done a lot of things good, or a lot of things that have been positive and helpful, then you will reward them. So, like, reward them with things like taking them to the park on their own without the siblings, or taking them out for cake, or taking them to soft play. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be it doesn't necessarily have to be a toy or a chocolate, but just something that they enjoy. But yeah, toddler life is hard, and I personally find it really hard. I would have 10 of these before I'd have a toddler, I'm not gonna lie.
But
then some people love toddler life. I know some people that absolutely love it, and they're like, oh my god, it's amazing, like, they've got so much personality, which yes, they have. But unfortunately for me right now, the hard days do outweigh the good days, and I can just picture the hard days in my head, because we have more hard days than good days.
Do you want any more children?
So me and Josh are like 99% done. We have had the conversation, and Josh is definitely done. I've always said I wanted 3 kids, so I do feel like there's a part of me that would be like, oh, I might one day, and we might change our minds when Casper starts school and Indy's like at nursery a bit more. But right now I don't feel like we will. I don't know, we just want to start enjoying life now. Like, I know I'm not old at all, but obviously I'm 31 this year, and I've only just had my second. Whereas you're 30?
32.
32, but you've just had your third. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we are done, but I'm just going to say never.
Never, I'm done. I know for a fact I'm done. Like you, after your second, I was very much like never say never, because I've always said 3. And I think because I had 2 boys as well, there's always that like feeling of, would I have a girl?
Yeah, I personally do think that if we'd have had a boy second time, I would be definitely thinking
having a
about
third.
having a third, just in case.
Just to see. And that's what I did. Like,
and I don't care what anyone says either. Like, you would, even if you had 2 girls, I think you really would like the thought of having a boy.
Of course you would.
And if you've got 2 boys, I think you would like the thought of having a girl. I don't care what anyone says. Like, why would you not want to experience both sexes? And if you don't, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Like, I would have happily had 3 boys. I would have happily had 3 girls. But I think people that say
that feeling
that they don't want to are lying. Really, to be honest.
Because like, even though people kept saying to me all the time, like, oh, is it because you want a girl? Is it because you want a girl? I'm not doing it because I want a girl, but
of course that's not the only reason why you're having a child.
Of course, in my mind it was like I could have had a boy, but yeah, I was over the moon. And like now it's completely different, because I'm used to boys, and now I've got a girl. It's like, wow, a whole new experience. But because I've got my 2 boys and a girl now, I mean, even if I would have had a boy, I probably would be done, because it has been hard work. But amazing. But yeah, now I'm 32, I'm just gonna look forward to enjoying my time with my partner, family stuff, family holidays, my friends again, doing girly things.
Yeah, that's like me as well. I just feel like if I keep thinking that I want a third, it's just gonna stop me from living.
Yeah, and I fully don't think that anyone, it's hard enough to get childcare for 3 kids,
oh my
but
God,
can you imagine 4? Like,
yeah, see, I think it's about 2. I think it's hard work to get childcare for 2 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, we are lucky with childcare, both of us are, aren't we? But
I have to split mine, so like I'll send Emmy to my mum and the boys to Jamie's mum.
My 2 stayed out at my mum's on Saturday night, and I felt awful asking her, so I just think, God, can you imagine if I had 3? But then I guess by the time I had 3, Casper would be a lot more self-sufficient. So I don't know, but yeah, I am 98% done. If you ask Josh, he'd say we're not having any more ever. So,
but yeah, not for me. I am like definitely done. Does your baby sleep well? What's your evening routine? So so since we've pretty much, I can speak for both of us really, we've brought our babies home, they've been really good sleepers. Obviously we'll both have different ways of doing things, but since any of my babies, from about, I don't know, I think I did it a bit earlier with Emma this time, but from about 8 weeks she was just getting a bit irritable being downstairs on an evening. She was just falling asleep, waking up because the telly was on, me and Jamie was chatting, so we decided to put her in her next to me crib in our bedroom from about 8 weeks, maybe 7-8 weeks. And of course I had like the monitor on and stuff, and I have always left her to self-settle, because I just think, I know it's hard for some people. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't rock your babies, and not every baby is going to self-settle, but I personally have just always put them down. I've tried to not rock them just for when it gets to like 6 months down the line, they will just go to bed. But yeah, it probably gets to about 7 o'clock. I put her down. She has a bottle of about 4 ounces. She goes to sleep, and then before I go to bed at about 10:30, 11, I give her a dream feed of 5 ounces, change a nappy, because if I don't change a nappy then she literally is soaking the morning after. And it does sometimes wake her up
as well.
Yeah, but she just go back down to sleep, and then she probably wakes up at about 6:30, 7, and then I give her another 4 ounces. But sometimes I'll put her down without white noise, sometimes I'll put white noise on when I first put her down. But that's what I've done since 7-8 weeks, and she's 12 weeks this week, and it's worked well for me personally, and that's what she does. And I've just started doing naps, you know, like a morning nap upstairs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm just
started
starting
doing that.
But
yeah, Indy slept well since she came home, really. Obviously when you first bring them home, they go into bed at 11 o'clock midnight. And then it gradually just gets earlier, so she's only ever woken up once, but that's obviously because her bedtime was at like 11, then it was 10:30, then it was like 9. Oh dear. But yeah, Indy's only ever woken up once. We don't do a dream feed because she still wakes up for a night feed even if she has a dream feed. And I've recently been working with a sleep woman for Casper because he is a bad sleeper, and she said that some babies just take to having a dream feed and some babies don't. And she just said obviously Indy just doesn't take to having one, because she said if she's still waking up at 2, 3, 4 a.m. for a feed, then obviously there's no point giving her a night feed, a dream feed, sorry, because it's not doing anything. And she said that's literally just it. Some babies, it wakes them up so that then they'll still wake up for that feed, and some babies like Emmy will sleep through. But yeah, she wakes up once in the night. Sometimes she's slept through maybe twice without having a feed in the night. I don't really have a routine as such. I just literally put her in her pyjamas, give her a little massage, maybe give her a bath. I don't bath her every night. I bath like 4 times a week.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
And then just put her in bed. Can't really have a routine every night because I do a lot of bath and bed on my own, and I can't predict what Casper's going to be like.
That's it, because Casper's not always...
So she doesn't really have like a relaxing, calming bedtime routine, but as soon as she's asleep, or I do sometimes put her down in a cot awake, but the room is always dark, there's white noise on.
Yeah, always dark.
There's just a little bit of light and that's it. Like, I don't leave loads of lights on. I try to like keep minimal noise. but that's not always promised, unfortunately.
I think because our room's like on the top floor, so it's easy for it to be quiet, so I can literally just like shut the door. Like my kids have always slept in pitch black. I've never done like lamps or like light or door open or anything like that, so I've just done the same for Emmy and her, but obviously she sleeps as well as the boys do.
Like, don't get me wrong, sometimes I do have to rock Indy. Like, I'll give her a feed and she won't be asleep. I'll put her down and she'll just lay awake, and I do have to rock her, but it's not every night.
Well, at least you don't wake up for it.
No, like I do
sleep.
try to get to like make her fall asleep on her own, because it is better for them as they get older. Are you laughing at me now?
Sometimes you've got to pick your battles, aren't you? When you've got another child that won't go to sleep and you just want Indy to go to sleep, you're going to do whatever you can to get her to sleep, aren't you?
Yeah, like sometimes I'll literally give her a last bottle in the bathroom when Casper's in the bath. I'll give her a last bottle in the kitchen while he's still eating his tea, because at the minute he takes about 45 minutes to eat a meal, and I swear he's doing it just to delay bedtime. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, definitely.
So like the other day, for example, it was getting to like 6:30 and I thought, she is starving, she needs to go to bed. I literally had to feed her at the kitchen table a last bottle. I got her changed on the sofa for bed, and I literally just gave her a last bottle in the kitchen, and she still slept that night. Like, it doesn't affect...
No, it doesn't affect her. Once she's asleep, she's asleep.
I think there's a lot of pressure that people feel like they need to
have this perfect nighttime
routine, and it just
doesn't always
not
happen.
The case at all.
It doesn't.
As long as there's a few things that are kept the same, i.e. like pyjamas, milk, dark room, white noise, or like milk, pyjamas, nappy change, rocked to sleep. As long as like there's a few things that are kept the same, it doesn't really need to be like this perfect nighttime routine, does it?
No. Well, there's one here, tips for dealing with a toddler and a newborn together.
I mean, we've kind of covered that. I feel like one of the best things for me, and I saw this on TikTok once actually, and I was like, oh, that's actually a really good idea, is just having somewhere to put your newborn in every room.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So a bouncer, a play mat, a cot, a next to me, a Moses basket, a high chair with like a newborn insert, a pram in the house, because you just do not know when you need to put your baby down because of your toddler. So I just think if there's somewhere to always put the baby, then you've got more chance of the baby being all right when they get put down, if that makes sense. If they put somewhere comfortable rather than just being put on the floor. So like downstairs we've got a bouncer, a play mat and a Moses basket and a high chair inserts. That's 4 things just downstairs. Upstairs I've obviously got the cot, I've got a feeding cushion on the bed, and then I've got like the snuzz pod. So I feel like there's always somewhere to put her in every like angle of the house, if that makes sense.
And
if
it's
I just
a
need to
change
put her
for
down
them as well, isn't it? Because if you just keep putting them in the same chair every time, they can get a bit agitated, and then obviously it's frustrating because you're trying to deal with your toddler, but they're like, I don't want to be in this chair again. But
and then toddler wise, I'd say just always praise them on how good they are. Like, you're such a good big brother, you're such a good big sister, like you look after your little brother so well, you look after your little sister so well. Like, try and include them all the time. So I'll always ask Casper to get me a nappy. I'll always ask him to get me the changing mat from behind the sofa. I'll ask him to get me a muslin. If I start feeding Indy now without a muslin, he's like, muslin, mummy, muslin.
I know. It's funny because like mine, like she'll just be like laid there and she'll have a dummy, and then a dummy will pop out and she'll start like stirring, and the boys straight away are over to her and they're like, I'm putting a dummy in mummy, and they're tapping the dummy in her mouth and just getting her like what she needs. But you definitely got to include them.
And you just need to praise them, because if they get told that they're a good sibling, then they'll continue to be one, if that makes sense. This lighting's going really bad.
What are your newborn must-haves?
Obviously formula fed. Let's just say a formula fed baby. I'd say a newbie rapid cool. For out and about feeds, or being out all day, or going on holiday, or staying over. Like when she stayed at my mum's, I just gave her the newbie rapid cool.
The man bottles are good because you can put them in the microwave as well.
Self-sterilising bottles, microwave bottles. A lifesaver for me has been a feeding cushion. It has been with both babies. So I use a feeding cushion on the night feed. I sit up and lean against it. it so that I don't have to like prop all my pillows up.
Yeah.
I prop the baby in the feeding cushion on the bed. I use it for so many things, like tummy time. Like, I just think it's actually like a really good product.
Yeah, it
and
is.
then for me, I would say a baby carrier. Like, I just love going out on walks with babies on the carrier. I just think it's a nice way of walking.
Yeah, no, it is, because rather than having the pram all the time, you could just walk properly. I would definitely say obviously the bottles, steriliser. I do use the tummy tipping machine. I think that's good for having in the house if you've got formula fed baby, because it's just, you can do it. You can be getting the formula in, waiting for it, doing other stuff, getting the baby ready whilst it's filling up, and then it's just done. And for me personally, the Motherhood has saved my life because I've got a colicky baby, and her being in the Motherhood with the different motions during the day really helps. So that's definitely a must-have for me. And I'm trying to think, there's actually loads.
Actually, another one for me would be the rocket. The little actual rocket-shaped thing that you attach to like your pram, and you can attach it to your car seat. I know some people that even put it in the snooze pod or the next to me, and it vibrates that.
Yeah, that is amazing, that, isn't it?
Darling.
Are you getting an the sun in your eyes?
I think she's teasing. The thing is, there's so many different things. It's just trial and error as well. With stuff like that. I think my car's really stuck out here, but oh well.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, it's trial and error.
Lots of muslins.
Stuff. Yeah, loads of muslins and bibs, to be fair.
Bibs, yeah.
Like, I use the Motherhood for Casper, but because Indy was quite a settled baby, I didn't feel like I needed one.
Yeah.
But I think if she was unsettled, I definitely would have got one. So I wouldn't invest in something like that until your baby arrives. Yeah. Because personally, like, she was fine just having a static bouncer. Whereas Casper was a really refluxy baby, so he definitely benefited from the Motherhood because it just kept him moving. This lighting is not doing us any good, is it? Right, should we answer one more? Yeah. One more question, Indy B. You've done really well. I'm glad to have you part of the team.
You've been fully joining in, haven't you, hon?
A very similar question. Someone asked me if I regret having children, and I was just like, no.
Can't say that, can you?
Even if I did, I wouldn't admit to it, but I don't know anyone that regrets having children, to be honest. It's hard work, but I don't think it's something that you would ever regret doing.
What is the age difference between your babies? Was it easier pregnant with the boys being slightly older? Well, that's kind of like a question for both of us, but then the last bit for me.
Yeah.
That's gone.
So the age gap between Indy and Casper is 2 years and 2 months. I found pregnancy really, really difficult.
Is it gone?
Because I got pregnant when he was 18 months old. And it's still quite young. Like at the time, I look and I feel like he was the age that he is now. But when I look back at pictures, he actually was like an actual baby still. Like, he was so young.
Yeah, you don't realise, do you?
Yeah, like he couldn't even talk. Yeah. Whereas now, because all he does is talk, I'm like, as if you couldn't talk 12 months ago, like when I was pregnant, like how different you are. So yeah, I did find pregnancy really hard, and just picking him up, like, he walks a lot more than he used to. So when I was first pregnant with Indy, he didn't walk hardly anywhere. He just needed picking up all the time. Yeah. And it was hard work, but I am glad, like, obviously I don't have a really small age gap, but I'd say it's average. It's probably average, to be honest.
Yeah, I reckon it's average,
like,
definitely.
I think back in the day, the average was about 3 years, because most of them, like, me and my brother are 3 years apart. A lot of my friends and their brothers and sisters are 3 to 4 years apart, but now I would say the average age is about 18 to 24 months.
Yeah, it is.
And these are 26 months apart, so but I'm glad that I did it, like, it happened when it happened.
Yeah.
Because I think it was
as hard as it was.
Yeah, as hard as it was. Because I think it'll be nicer that they just will be into the similar ages, like similar things. I don't really know.
Yeah, because Spencer and Albie now, there's 22 months between them two, and they play together. Like, they can play for hours in the playroom, and obviously, like, I can get them the same toys because they're the same sex as well, so that's easier. But I found pregnancy hard because I had 2 of them, but I think with Spencer it was fine, but with Albie, because he's such a mummy's boy, he still wanted to, like, cuddle me all the time, be on top of me, always on me, and obviously that's fine. Like, I wasn't pushing him away, but it can just be a bit much, and obviously you're all flustered and you get really hot. Like, I'm a hot person,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I
a
can
really
be when
hot
I'm like
person.
pregnant.
And we had such a hot summer, didn't we?
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my god, it was awful.
Yeah, so it was just a lot, but generally my pregnancies aren't really bad, and I don't get massive, and because I'm like 5'8", I'm quite like, it doesn't, like, my bump doesn't overtake my body, does it? Whereas you're tiny,
wow.
so like you just see
my
Sophie's bump
literally
first.
overtakes everything, and I think that's the hardest thing for me. I am so uncomfortable, and once I get to about 28-30 weeks, I am so uncomfortable because I just carry so big.
Yeah.
That even just sitting on the sofa is just awful. So then I had Casper climbing all over me, like fully not aware that there was an actual baby in my tummy, even though I used to tell him. Like, I don't think he really
That's a big yawn.
Oh, well, darling.
Still going. I will say though, like, and I stick by it, when I was pregnant, I kept saying to people, I can't wait not to be pregnant to sleep properly, and I have slept actually better.
I sleep way better when I'm not pregnant. Like, to be fair, I don't suffer from pregnancy insomnia.
Oh, it's just
I just don't
all the time.
sleep very deep, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, I was way more tired pregnant than I am tired looking after a toddler and a baby.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I was exhausted when I was pregnant and had Casper to look after. Whereas now, I'm not half as tired as I was.
No, you've got more patience, haven't you? Because you're not pregnant.
Yeah, you've definitely got more patience with your children when you're not pregnant. Obviously, your first pregnancy is very different because you don't have a child to look after. And I always say you should treasure your first pregnancy with an inch, every inch of your life. Because
absolutely.
one, you don't know what's coming. Two, it is just such a magical bubble because you do think everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows. And three, you don't have another child to look after, so you can lay on the sofa when you want, you can watch what you want on TV. You don't really have to worry about, like, I think even as an adult, like, if you're washing, you have got that many clothes usually that you're like, oh, I haven't done the washing for a few days, but it doesn't really matter because I've still got loads of stuff to wear. But when you've got kids, you're a bit like now, I'll be like, oh my god, she's got no baby grows, like, I need to do a washing, or she's not going to have a baby grow to wear tonight. Because I just let it, well, I don't let it pile up, but you just have that much washing to do that it just piles up. And then I realise that I've not done any of her washing for like 3 or 4 days, and I'm like, oh my god, she's got nothing to wear.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, again, with your first pregnancy, because you don't have that, you're not constantly having to do the washing. Like, there's nothing to really tidy up for. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it's definitely harder. The more kids you have, the harder your pregnancy, just because, not physically, but mentally, I'd say.
Mentally, yeah.
Because I was even looking back at videos and pictures of me being pregnant the other day, and I was like, I miss it. But I remember in the time, I was like, I can't wait.
I never feel like that. I never look back at my pregnancy.
I have not brewed it. It's
because
not
I just
happening.
don't enjoy being pregnant, to be honest. It's just one of them things. Some people absolutely love being pregnant and some people don't, and I just don't really like it. I like it for like between 12 weeks and like 28 weeks, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I hate getting dressed because nothing fits me because I'm just so big that even like an oversized t-shirt wow, an oversized t-shirt was absolutely awful on me. Oh, do you agree?
So cute.
Right, I think we're gonna have to close this video up because one, you can't see us, and two, there's about 30 seconds left of filming. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Make sure you go and follow Holly and subscribe to Holly as well. We're gonna try and do one of these every month, and we'll just alternate our channels. So this one's gonna be on mine, the next one will be on Holly's. But we just think it's a nice thing to do because there's not many people that are honest about motherhood these days, and I just think it's something nice to watch.
Yeah.
Just like an honest conversation about motherhood, really. Who knows, might even start a podcast.
I know, we love a good chat, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Right, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Say bye, Indy.